I have another question from 11-year-old Jack from Adelaide. Thanks, Jack. Um, when when you would run away from the orphanage, what's the longest distance you made it before the cops uh, catching you or caught you? I guess is what he meant. Okay. Remembering that I was about your age, Jack, about 11, 10 and a half, 11, and before I talk about how far I got, I'll just say why I ran away. And that was a combination of things, but usually after I'd been in quite a bit of trouble and maybe I'd copped a bit of a slap from the nuns or whatever, because of a morning when the boys were leaving their dormitory, one of the sisters would stand at the door and give everybody a good hard slap across the back of the legs with a cane. And the idea of that was that you were going to do something through the day where you deserve to be punished. So we'll punish you in the morning, and that's the punishment done. Except it didn't work that way, because if you did anything wrong, they still punished you again anyway. But I'd probably build up a little bit of anger and resentment and hatred towards the nuns for that, and then I'd start planning to run away. And usually I ran away of a weekend because during the week there was too much scrutiny, too many people watching you. So I think it might have been a Saturday morning, and I ran away. I ran across the paddocks, and there was a cemetery. I ran through the cemetery and probably got about 2 kilometres away before I started walking. But the furthest I got was quite a long way, actually, about probably 90 kilometres. But I didn't walk all the way, and it took me 2 days to get that far as well. I got out along Armadale Road, between Armadale and Ebor, and I got a couple of, I was hitchhiking after a while, and I got a couple of lifts from farmers. And now when I think back on it, that was kind of silly, because I think what had happened, and we're going to go back and remember that at the time there were no mobile phones. So what I think was happening is that, a farmer would see me walking along the road and stop, pick me up, give me a lift for, maybe 10 or 20 kilometres, maybe 30 kilometres to wherever they were going, and then drop me off again, and I'd keep walking. And they've gone back to their home and they've rang the police on their landline. And so the police had a really good idea of where I was. And like I said, I got to about Ebor, and I was walking along the road, and then I heard this car coming up behind me, and I didn't think to turn around. I thought I was a long way away from the orphanage by then. And the car pulled up beside me, and it was a police car. And there were 2 policemen in there, and they just said, where you going? They asked me my name. I gave them a bodgy name. I don't recall what I gave them. And then they said they'd give me a lift, and I jumped in the back of the car, and they turned around and started going back towards Armadale. And they gave me a really hard time in the back as well. They were telling me how ungrateful I was, that and how much trouble I caused the sisters at the orphanage, the nuns. One time they even hit me a couple of times, slapped me around a little bit, but that wasn't that time. That was a different time. And then they take me back to the orphanage, and the sisters would collect me from the police car, and then I'd be punished. That's when I get locked in under the staircase or in another room. Like I'll be locked in there for quite a long time for running away. But that's when I started to create that little world in my mind. So about 90 kilometres is the answer to that question. Oh, yeah, turn it off.